Aloha Facebook Live. Happy Monday and happy full harvest moon. I want to come to you with a story, something vulnerable for me, about how synchronicity literally saved my life, or at least saved my creative and purpose in life. And I want to briefly define what a synchronicity is. I assume many of you know, but a synchronicity, a synchronization of chronos or chronicity, is a meaningful coincidence viewed from your perspective. And Carl Jung, the great sage, coined the term in the 20th century. And I truly believe everything happens for a reason, and actually nothing happens by chance. And you don't need to get woo-woo to do this. If you dive deep into particle physics, quantum theory, you'll see that because of the observer effect, actually our reality and how things are interacting and the timing of things, like thinking of someone and they call, or having a symbol in your mind and then seeing it throughout your day, is a two-way street between the universe actually speaking to you in code, through objects, through people, through experiences, and also your reticular activating cingulate, your brain, your nervous system tuning to whatever frequency your perception, intention, and creativity are aligning to. So I want to bring you back to the year 2013. And for me, this was a very intense time. It was actually when I left Texas for the first time, where I grew up, and I traveled and moved to Santa Cruz, California. During this time, I was in a very intense relationship. I had just gotten a job at the university there, my first big boy job, a corporate level academic job. I was applying for PhD programs in psychology. And long story short, I really started to hit a creative wall, and I hit a professional wall as well, where I was making, $50,000 a year or something. I had, this girl of my dreams, so I thought. I was writing feverishly, wanting to be an author, a blogger, wanting to be an entrepreneur, and also realizing that I was unfulfilled. I was actually deeply, deeply unfulfilled, and this was leaking into every part of my life. Every part of my life became actually a depression. And a depression is just the opposite of expression, or the fulfillment of energy and the creativity that was wanting to live through me, through my heart, through my words, my actions. This is when I was first getting into stand-up and spoken word poetry. This is when I was first realizing that nutrition played a key with me. And I got really low. And started to doubt everything, to the point where I quit my job on a whim, on a deep feeling of loss and a deep feeling of, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I wanted to travel. I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't know how. I wanted to upgrade my relationship, but I felt stuck. And synchronicity, meaningful coincidences, are actually what led me deeper into that path. They literally saved my life. I remember staying up to like 4 a.m., writing in my journal, feverishly going through my notes, feeling trapped, literally feeling in my body, crushing anxiety, crushing feelings of the walls closing in on me, something like a mild panic attack. I didn't know what I was going to do, looking at my bank account, looking at my life. What the funk was I going to do with my life? I had no idea, but I knew I needed to quit my job, because I had actually gone into an ecstatic dance and into a deep trance and prayer, asking God, universe, whatever. I was confused at the time for a sign, something to help me on my path. And I woke up the next morning. I remember watching the sunrise over the hills in Santa Cruz by the coast, and having barely slept, not knowing what was next, I walked into my boss's office and put in my 2 weeks notice, which then triggered this journey for me of synchronicity, of opening and awakening. I started to notice symbols in my life. I started to read books that at the perfect moment triggered me into a state of awareness. I started to have conversations with random people in coffee shops and on the street who would literally unplug and unlock something in my brain. I would start to have deep drop-ins, sobbing, tears, body work, breath work, lots of yoga, and writing feverishly. I would see synchronicities lining up. The same person would appear in this place, the same idea, the same symbol. It was as if the universe was talking to me, and I actually thought I was going crazy at the time. And I was studying my dreams, and I was just getting into Carl Jung, and thank the heavens that I had this context, because I started to realize not only was I not going crazy, I was actually becoming more sane and leaving the ego mind and consciousness wall I had been building for myself. And this was the spring of 2014, which feels like a lifetimes ago. It was only 4 years ago, almost 5. And this was the beginning of my journey. Synchronicity played a key role. It was as if reading the words of Carl Jung and studying my dreams and being in deep presence, doing body work, doing Kriya, Pranayama, Kundalini Yoga, all these things to purify my body, fasting a lot, spending time alone in nature. It's as if Source Energy and God was talking to me, and Goddess, Mother Earth, Father Sky was talking to me and helping me understand my pathway, which was not in a university. It was not in grad school. It wasn't in corporate America. It was forging my own creative path, forging my own potency and my own mythology. It was a very powerful time. So anyone out there listening to this or seeing this later, I want you to know that synchronicity is on your side. Something Rob Bresney, an epic poet, talks about is pronoia. Instead of paranoia, everyone's out to get you, which is a fear-based collapsing of your mind and your mental divine power. I want to talk about pronoia. The universe is actually working for you. Every intention, thought, word, and deed is creating your life, is creating your freedom. And actually the universe is putting wind in your sails. So I invite you, that was funny, it's putting wind in your cells and your sails. I want to invite you to see the coincidences, those moments, those hunches, those gut instincts, those intuitions as actually a guiding force in your life to vacate the shadows and the doubts and invocate the power and the frequency of light, of truth, and of your creative purpose on this earth, which is true. I want to tell you that it's true. It's true for me, and I imagine it's true for you, because I'm no different than you. I'm an ordinary man. I want to share with you 3 books that have been very powerful on my path. And they came to me around these times and radically awakened and opened me to being in divine service, to being an entrepreneur and finding my tribe, finding the people that actually light up my soul. The first one and the most powerful, which came to me at this time, my brother Ryan knows this because it came to both of us, is The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. This book literally can change your life. It has deep insights and ancient knowledge embedded in an easy-to-read narrative that I was literally reading this book and watching it play out in my life. And if you've read the book, you know. And if you haven't, I'm actually going to drop a link to it below. I invite you to check it out. It's something very powerful that's come back into my life recently, actually, and I wanted to share that with you. The second book, and equally as powerful, which actually played a role in triggering my awakening in 2013, is A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. And this book is really an entry point into understanding these concepts of intention, of prayer, of presence, and mindfulness, and how they can literally recreate your energy field in life, quite literally on a cellular level. And I invite you to do the research and not take my word for it. Really directly experience this in your life. The third book, and probably my favorite, is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. This book came to me at a critical time in my creative career, a critical time when I was writing and doing deep inner work, trying to unlock and find what I was meant to do. And I was a very different person back then, by the way. Much more introverted, much more airy-fairy, if you can say, less grounded. And The Alchemist was the narrative I needed. I actually finished reading it in Thailand when I was backpacking through Southeast Asia, and that book really awakened me. I read it in 2014 and again in 2015, and it changed my life in a profound way. So this is just a transmission coming through and something that was in my soul about how synchronicity literally saved my creative life and activated my path. And I invite you to really see that coincidence is just something that's left over from a bad theory of reality. That's Terence McKenna, shout out. Coincidence isn't a fluke, it's not random. Your reality is embedded with meaning, and this is not mental illness. This is not what the medical profession says is imaginative, thinking, creativity, or some kind of, fluke of the brain-body system. The idea that instances of symbology, creativity, and conversations in your life would have deep meaning for you is the most true thing that I've experienced in this reality. And so there you have it. I'm going to be dropping a link. Check out the Celestine Prophecy. It's the 25th anniversary. And I'm going to have it in the comments. This book can literally change your life. If you've never heard of it, read it. You can read it in one day and it'll unlock some codes for you. If you have read it, this is the best gift you can give someone on the path of awakening. Literally, this book can change your life. It changed my life. I invite you to see synchronicity, to see it everywhere, and let it guide you. Stay intentional, stay creative, take responsibility, but take the cues from the universe. Seriously. I love you all so much. I feel complete. I just want you to know that I'm back online. I'm back on Facebook. If you haven't already, click the link in my profile, grab my ebook, check out my blog and newsletter. DivineMasculine.live is actually being burned down, and I'm recreating like a phoenix. My personal brand, my coaching, my offerings, my music, and my event facilitation are all transforming. So stay tuned for that, y'all. Love you guys. Peace and strength.